Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Reading Between the Lines. I am your host, the Waterdog, and today I'll be counting down my 10 favorite vampires from the Ancient Heart set. But before I do that, would you do me the kind favor of hitting that subscribe button? It means a whole lot to me, and I really appreciate it, brother, if you would do that for me. Ancient Hearts came out in 1996. It's the follow-up to the Dark Sovereign set, and so this is where you're going to get introduced to a couple of clans that comes into play. And it is just adding on to what we had in Dark Sovereigns. And so, you know, you'll see some of that here a little bit there into my list. But once again, I want to remind you, this is not the 10 best vampires. This is my 10 favorites. These are the ones that, for me, I had placed into a lot of decks and stuff that I was playing with at the time. And so let's get kick-started, brother. Starting with number 10 slot. Isabel de Leon, and what I loved about her, 3-cap superior aspects. She's just a misdirection machine. You just get her into play, and she's a misdirection machine. She's also very useful for Toreador Grand Ball. Okay, she's a low-cap vampire that you can send that bleed on, and then you can then Grand Ball with her. That's why I liked her. You know, just a good vampire for that. At the number 9 spot, Mustafa Rahman, 2-cap. And if anybody knows me, if you've seen my deck list before, I have built several Weenie Dominate decks. And I love Weenie Dominate. I won my very first, I should say I won my first tournament, but I won my first recorded tournament with a Weenie Dominate deck at the Week of Nightmares in Columbus a couple of years ago. It was 2023. And that's what started my little run of tournament play and stuff out there. But it was with a Weenie Dominate deck. And I love Weenie Dominate, so there's no doubt about it. So Mustafa, he plays right into that for me, brother. Going to the number 8 slot, continuing on that theme, Ohana. Dominate. 2-cap. Dominate. Love it. Number 7 spot, Abd al-Rashid. What I liked about him is, you know, I played some of these Asimite decks, and for me, it was going to be I mainly built them as combat decks. You know, I was trying to do as much quietus and celerity, you know, additional strikes and maneuvers, and trying to use those abilities and disciplines as much. And he was great being at the 5-cap spot. You know, you're looking at a 5-cap with superior quietus and superior celerity. So he was a very strong vampire for me because of those superior disciplines at such a low capacity. And so that's why I liked him. So he hits my number 7. Number 6, talked about it before in the last couple of videos. Hey, it's Ravnos. You know, we're talking about the paw. We're talking about superior animalism. You cannot go wrong with a low-cap superior animalism vampire, and that's exactly what you get when you're talking about Sarisha Villaku. It's just a really good vampire for that, and plays right into those Ravnos decks for me. At the 5 spot, follower set. We're talking about Dedefra, and she's got the superior Serpentis, which is what I like. I like the fact that you've got that discipline at the superior. You know, then of course you got Obfuscate and you got Necromancy. She was really good in my followers of set decks, and so she hits my number 5 spot. Continuing on that follower set thing, we get to Sequoth, Keeper of the Grand Temple of Set. If Sequoth successfully performs an action required Serpentis, you gain 1 pull, and you only gain 1 pull this way each turn. And this is the guy I built around a whole lot when we're talking about followers of set, simply because you've got the Fortitude discipline, so you can take several Serpentis actions with him. So, you know, Temptation, Form of Corruption, he was built for all of that stuff. And so that's what I loved about him. Don't forget about entrancement and being able to steal allies and stuff. So, because there was a lot of money allies being played at the time, you know, because everybody's playing all these big, back then, you know, you're playing all these high costing allies and stuff. And so being able to steal them with an entrancement was really good, and he was a good entrancement stealer. So loved him. At the 3 spot, you know, going back to my Bruja, we're talking about a 5-cap. Braca, she is got superior celerity, she's got superior presence, and so what I liked about her being at that 5-cap level was the ability for me to do some voting. So sometimes when I was throwing votes into my Bruja decks, that she was such a low cap voter that I could get her out there and still get the wishing oration off of her. And so that's what I liked about her. So I mean, she was, she was kind of my only, I would say my only Bruja for the most part that I didn't rely on potence, because I was relying on her when I decided to change the Bruja decks to have a little bit more vote centric. She went into the more vote centric deck simply because you've got that superior presence and you've got the fortitude. Don't forget the ability to unlock. Free drive was a big card for me back in those days. Love to use a lot of free, love to unlock, love to do a lot of actions. At the number 2 slot, Ileana, Gangrel. The only downside for her is, man, I wish she had animalism, but what she does do is she fits great into the Stanislava deck. And because she worked really good to me for what I was trying to do with the Stanislava, you can't underestimate that superior dominate for her, okay? And the ability, contracts, because you got to remember that there was a lot of contracts being played back in those days. And so contracts not being able to be played on her was big. So you had a bounce bleeder that could do some combat for you and play in line with that Stanislava and Ingrid Rosler combination of cards and stuff back in the day. And I liked her for that. And so she saw herself in a lot of those type of decks for me. Last but not least, you got to have somebody that kills things. Who is Archon of Ulabeg? This is the ability. It's just the ability. Blood hunts cannot be called against Moons. And that's just what's good. You just go out and kill things. So blood hunts. So basically she's the Diablerie machine. That's really what she's the Diablerie machine. You can put her in those decks. And I played her. I would put her sometimes in the Stanislava decks. Okay? So because a lot of times you would end up with these vampires that would end up in Topor and stuff like that. And then I would use movies. Once again, don't get me trying to pronounce names. To basically go out and just Diablerize. And so that's what she was. She was a Diablerizing machine, and I put her in a lot of different decks to simply end, to just end vampire. Back in the day, I loved eating vampire. It's just kind of what I did, and that's why she became a staple and became a favorite. Hey man, that's all I got time for, brother. Hey, give me your top 10 favorites. Put your top 10 favorites down in the comments section. All right, brother. I appreciate your time, man. I'm the Water Dog. Y'all take care.